Hi everyone, my name is Bav and I'm the training specialist here at PixelPoint. Today we'll be looking at how to set up BackOffice. This video will be split into two parts, and this is part 2 of the BackOffice setup. Let's start by opening up BackOffice and clicking on Point of Sale. From here, click on System Setup Options. This is the heart of all BackOffice programming, and the settings you apply here will pertain to the entire system. As we can see here, there are multiple tabs in the System Setup Options window. In part 2 of the Office setup, we'll be looking at the second half of the tabs. In part 1, we covered the System, Company Info, Taxes, POS Reports, and Preset Payment tabs. Let's start with the Orders tab, which is broken off into 4 sections: Future Orders, Gratuity, Course Prefixes, and Member Point System. Let's start with the first tab called Future Orders. This is where you program the criteria for accepting and processing orders that are placed for readiness at a future time or date. The first field is called Orders will be processed this number of minutes before scheduled time. The number that you enter into this field represents the number of minutes before the order prints to the kitchen. In this example, let's say I order a burger at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but I want it to be ready for 6 o'clock in the evening. And my number of minutes before scheduled time is 15 minutes. That means that this order will be printed into the kitchen at 5:45, 15 minutes before 6 o'clock, so it's ready, hot and fresh for the customer. The number of minutes can be different for a delivery order and a non-delivery order. Under that, there is order must be scheduled at least this many hours into the future. This sets a minimal allowable time for placing the future order. For example, if I called in the order at 5:45 to have it ready for 6 o'clock, I may not want to allow future ordering in that case. Next is, order can be scheduled no more than this many hours into the future. This allows you to set a limit as to how far into the future you want to allow future ordering. 0 is disabled, which means future ordering is not allowed. If it's set to 10, for example, it will allow you to place an order 10 hours in advance. You can set this to days or weeks in advance also by setting the corresponding number. For example, if this order needs to be scheduled for exactly 5 days into the future, this number can be 120, representing 5 24-hour days. Please note that future orders will not interrupt your end-of-day processing. Even though your order is considered open, the system will recognize it as a future order. However, if the order is prepaid, then the order will be processed under the current day's sale. The next tab is Gratuity. PixelPoint will allow you to program an auto gratuity based on the calculation you apply here. The first field is called Calculate Gratuity, and this can be selected if you want the gratuity to be calculated before taxes or after taxes. Next, we have the Auto Gratuity portion. This is where you will formulate your calculation for the gratuity. The first field in this section is called Auto Gratuity Charge, which is the percentage you would like to charge when applying an auto gratuity. Next is when number of customers is greater than or equal to. If auto gratuity is applied based on the number of guests at the table, then you can put the number here. For example, if the table has 6 or more guests, then the auto gratuity will be applied. There is a second criteria called when amount of check is greater than or equal to. This is where you add a dollar value to the check. So for example, if the check total is $200 or more, then the auto gratuity will be applied. The system will look at both of these criteria when determining whether to apply it. Allow coupon to lower gratuity will determine whether the discount from the coupon will affect the calculation of the auto gratuity. So if you had a $100 check and a 20% off coupon was applied, this would determine if the 15% would go from the $100 or the $80. If Do Not Calculate on Active Surcharge is checked off, then the gratuity will not be applied to any surcharges. Enforce gratuity amount when closing check will force the gratuity into the amount owing on the check. When you apply auto gratuity, it will offer it as a suggested total, but the bottom line total of the check will not include it. Checking this will change the bottom line total to include gratuity. In most places, this is not illegal, but in some countries, it is permitted, which is why it's possible with PixelPoint. Add gratuity amount to final total will include the gratuity after all taxes and costs have been totaled, instead of just on the amount of the bill before tax. The next tab is called Course Prefixes. This pertains to prep printing by dining course. As you can see here under the course dropdown, we have a list of multiple courses. PixelPoint can accommodate up to 10 courses, with 3 basic ones being appetizers, main course, and desserts, along with one called Other, then 6 unnamed courses beyond that. With each one you select, you can program its course prefix. If you activate courses in the system, these prefixes will appear in the item list window on the order screen along with the remote print. The last tab under orders is called Member Point System, which is where you can determine how you want to calculate member points. It could be by product, which can mean that a burger is worth 10 points, or it could be amount calculated on the net total or amount calculated on the gross total, which could be 1 point for every $10 spent. Next to the order tab, we have plugin. This is where you can program an interface plugin for special processing using custom DLLs. For example, your system needs to interface with an accounting system or needs to execute a special function outside of the scope of PixelPoint. Then you can apply it within here for on-finish check, third-party reservations, member lookup, fiscal, and delivery. Next, we have the Advanced tab, which is usually set up for you, but if you need to assign an item into the system in order for a certain function to work, you can do that here. The top portion of this is called defaults. The first thing we see here is called default split common product is. This is used for situations where you provide a split modifier. An example of this would be a pizza that has half toppings. This message would appear as 1 of 2 or 2 of 2 on both the item list and on the screen on the kitchen print. Next is the default seating position is. This is used for situations where you are providing seat messages such as seat 1, seat 2, and so on. After that is default coupon on finish check plugin is. This applies to a default coupon which could be applied when closing any check. After that is default product on finish check plugin is, which applies a default product when closing any check. These are very specific plugin applications which will enforce a revision to a coupon or product when all checks are closed. Under that, we have the collaboration URL address. If your POS is tied to the internet, you can use this feature. This allows the store to interact with a secured website. The field at the top is where you enter the website address. In doing so, the web page you enter here will then appear on your BackOffice homepage. For example, if we want to add a shortcut to our PixelPoint HQ website, we can do so by adding the website URL here. Now that we've pasted this here, it will appear on our BackOffice main screen. Under that, we have the default internet employee. This pertains to the web-based ordering, and to use this function, you need to create a web-based employee to represent the order being placed over the internet. The last tab we have here is policies. This will be a separate video, but the policies tab is home to all of the policies you have programmed into PixelPoint. This is where you can come to activate or deactivate those policies. That concludes the video for BackOffice Part 2. I hope this video was helpful and look out for future videos.